Welcome back. In last video, I talked about my top 5 must-have games for the PSVR2 on launch day. So for this video, I decided to go into La La Land and do a top 5 dreams list video. And you know, what the system could have down the road in the future. Keep in mind, this list will be games that might already have a VR game on it on PCVR or the Quest 2, and games that have just been dormant forever and haven't had a release on any system at all. It's really just a list for fun and the possibilities of Sony really going full in with VR and what could be down the road. You already know I'm gonna get some comments about this, but Metal Gear Solid, Uncharted, The Last of Us, and Silent Hill 2 are not on my list for right now. While those are all fantastic franchises and amazing games that I hold dear to my heart, they're just not on my list. Silent Hill 2, honestly, if that was in VR, I would play it, but I would probably have a stroke playing it because I just can't deal with horror games, but I still love them. There's a horror game on my list. Just stay tuned. Anyway, I'm SodaMoose. Let's get right into it. Okay, and first on my list is going to be the game that really made me want to start investing into VR, getting into the VR space, and wanting to make content here on YouTube is Into the Radius. Into the Radius is something like the Stalker series. If you're familiar with that, it's a survivalist kind of horror experience, and the horror can be subjective. Some people say it isn't scary. A lot of people say it is scary. Me personally, I think it is. You're thrust into this world with a tremendous amount of mystery. You necessarily don't know why you're there, what's going on, and you pick up notes and find these anomalies and stuff in the world, and you get story that way, but you kind of can let yourself get immersed in there and build your own story in such a way. It's almost kind of like reading a book in that way, at least for me. But it's such an atmospheric game. You go into this world and you can spend, days out there and never go back to basically your home base, and you can get lost in there. Find different guns, find lots of loot. You've got a backpack, kind of like The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, but to me it's better Into the Radius because you can kind of just put things wherever in your backpack, which is fantastic. But you're into this world and you're there. I've never played a game where you can put single rounds of ammunition into different magazines and stuff and load your gun, and it can make the firefights in the game so tense and dramatic because your gun can jam. You have to clean it, you have to maintain it. You don't know how much ammo's in there unless you physically check, and it's fantastic. If you've been around the VR scene for a while, or if you're just getting into it, I implore you to really go out there and give it a try. It's worth your time. Yes, it is a little janky. I could make a whole video on Into the Radius, but check it out. And it coming to the PSVR2, I think, would be a huge advantage to people that haven't played it. It gives them another option. Like, we're gonna have people that are coming, from the Quest 2, the PSVR2, and people that are just buying a PSVR2 for the first time. I'm sure of it. They won't have the chance to play that game unless they have a Quest 2 or a PCVR. But yeah, if it could make its way to the PSVR2, that would be outstanding, I think, for everybody. Next on the list is probably a pretty obvious one, is Half-Life Alyx. And if you've heard of Half-Life, you know that this game exists, or if you only know about VR, I'm sure that you've heard whispers about this game as well. It kind of set the bar for what VR games could be and should be. I mean, this game was released, 3 years ago, and no game has really matched the polish and the mechanics that Half-Life Alyx have introduced. It kind of brought a, AAA experience to VR, which, no other game has done. But I know that Sony, kind of has a good relationship with Valve, and there are talks and there are some rumors and whispers and stuff, but nothing concrete. So I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, look, Half-Life Alyx is coming, to the headset, because I just can't do that. But I'm sure that everyone would love to see this come over. And it's kind of a shame that it wasn't a launch title. That was kind of the big thing around, like, oh, is it going to be that launch title that the system kind of needs? Unfortunately, we're not getting that, but hopefully in 2023, with such a big year coming for VR, we get at least some confirmation that the game is on its way. Okay, next up, it's going to be Killzone or Killzone 2. Preferably for me. Killzone 2 came out in 2009. My God, that was so long ago. And the last Killzone game, which was Shadow Falls Infinite, I don't know. It was an awful, awful game. It came out in 2013, but Guerrilla Games, they do the Horizon series, so they have, they're the ones that made the Killzone series. So if they were to able to bring Killzone into VR, they've already brought Horizon. Why not bring Killzone back into VR? The ability to play as a Helghan, would just be amazing, because those guys are just badass. I mean, we all have to agree with that. How awesome would that be? Killzone 2 was kind of the system seller for me. I had a PS3, and that infamous trailer dropped for Killzone 2, and I remember talking with everybody in school about, is it real? Is it not real? Turned out, obviously fake, but it was just so cool. And the game dropped, and it still looked incredible. And the multiplayer, if you were able to play it back then, was outstanding. I hadn't played anything really quite like it. They did make changes eventually, and I didn't like it as much with the changes they made. But if they were to bring that into VR, and that feel and the different classes they had, would be outstanding. So please, we need something like that on VR. And I know there's some rumors, there's some speculation. I know there was like a 4chan post. You can do some digging and stuff like that, but nothing, again, concrete directly from Sony is like, hey, yes, we are making it. Okay, and next up on this list is an old one. It's Socom US Navy SEALs 2 that came out in 2003. 2003. Oh my god. Anyway, this was the first real multiplayer experience for me personally that I got into. I remember buying, it was like, came in this, cardboard box with this cheap looking headset. It was so bad. And you had to buy like an adapter for the back of the PS2 to play online. But man, oh man, you could have team killing. There was objective based, multiplayer matches. The single player campaign was outstanding as well, but I made so many friends, so many connections online. Team killing people with different accounts was just so much fun with my buddies and I, trying to get the best rank we could, fighting to keep that rank. So much time spent in this game. And even to this day, you can find people online still playing this game somehow. I don't understand how it works. And that's a testament to how good it is. And I know Sony had SOCOM 3 and some PSP games, and I think maybe they had a PS3 game, but it just didn't hit the same like SOCOM 2 did. SOCOM 2 was the pinnacle of the series. And I'm pretty sure, people like myself that were around that time playing that game at its peak would love to see this in VR. I understand there's Pavlov, I understand there's contractors and stuff, but like, again, this is an official SOCOM game, in VR. I mean, it would be outstanding. It would be so fun. It would mesh so well into VR. So if you've never seen SOCOM 2, go on YouTube, find some clips. It's a good time. I know it looks archaic to today's standards, but man, it was so fun. And anybody that isn't here and has played it knows exactly what I'm talking about.
USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kellyan responding to your distress call.
And the final game on this list is Resident Evil in Space, or Dead Space. I remember that's what me and my friends used to call it in high school. But yeah, with the new release of the Dead Space remake, I mean, why not? Bring that into VR, add that as a feature, on for free, or charge a little amount. I'd be okay with that if it was a full fleshed out experience, or if it was the full game but in VR. Can you imagine the pants experience that would be in VR? I mean, I played the original. I haven't played the remake yet, just because I don't want to spend $89.99 plus tax. Have a PSVR2 headset coming away, gotta save money for that. But anyway, that's besides the point. Just having that experience in VR, fighting the necromorphs, using different attachments, upgrading your guns, all in VR, being in that space station. I mean, I actually don't know if I could play it. I think I'd be too chicken and, end up quitting the game. But I would play as much as I could of it. I'm a big scaredy cat when it comes to horror games, but I love them at the same time. It's a really weird relationship. But yeah, like, do you guys think that would be a good idea? Like Dead Space in VR? I mean, that would be sick. It'd be so atmospheric, especially with the haptics controllers and the headset itself. Like, ooh, creepy. And that's it for my top 5 wish list games for the PSVR 2. I know some of them exist and some of them are just, up in the air, but that was kind of the whole point of this video. Just have some fun and being like, oh, what could be, with Sony really coming full force with this, VR headset coming down the road, and, the Quest 3 coming supposedly next year, and some really exciting stuff. So now's the time for us as a community to be like, hey, we love these experiences. We're willing to, to pay for the experiences and stuff like that. So, let us have those. Let us have those and bring more people to VR, because it's something that I think everybody has to experience at least once. But I don't want to get on a tangent because that could be another video all in itself. But anyway, as always, I appreciate you being here, spending your time with me, and please let me know what games you'd like to see down below. Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.